everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Slave Podcast. Wow, it's been such a long time, but we're super excited to be here again, sitting down to talk about everything and anything. And so, it's been a while actually. So I was kind of wondering, like, what if we all just like went around and just introduced ourselves really quickly, just for people who might, be new to the channel, but also people who just haven't seen us for a long time, right? So I'm kind of curious, Brandon, would you like to start and introduce yourself?
Introduce me. Yeah, so I'm the strongest guy of the group. I mean, as you can see, I've been working out. I'm probably like 5 times more swole than last time. But oh my Kevin, I just saw that. But yeah, I guess I don't know how to properly introduce myself besides saying my name is Brandon and I'm in college, right?
Do you have like a have like a fun fact about yourself that most people would know, or like something in your lore that's very like Brandon-esque?
Something in my lore. I
Yeah,
broke a
yeah.
hip at 18. I'm like already an old man. So
You broke a hip? Oh
yeah,
no,
yeah.
what happened there?
Um, I never try to hide it. I don't have like a cool story. Also, there's just gonna be a black screen in the corner. I don't know what happened to the thing that was there, but it's just not there, and we already started, so I'm not gonna bother with it right now. But I literally slipped and fell. And just broke my hip. That's it.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, no, like car and a child. It's just I was working, slipped and fell.
Damn, they caught you slipping, and
Yeah,
you lived with the consequences.
yeah.
Do you have any like lingering like effects after that fall, or you're pretty
No,
much like fully recovered?
I just had a surgery. Took me like 3 weeks to recover, but other than that, I just have screws in there. They won't come out.
Oh wow.
But as far as I know, it's not supposed to have like any complications later or anything.
You have
Okay,
screws in
that's
your
good.
leg?
In my hip, yeah, three
What
titanium
the?
God
screws.
damn.
Wow, that's cool.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
just
cool.
just break a hip, you'll get them too.
Okay, but like, do you ever like just go to like through TSA and then you get caught and then they're like, we need you to like step aside. We gotta schedule it quickly. And they're like,
uh,
oh, sorry, it's
no,
my hip.
well, I haven't gone to an airport yet, but like at like events and stuff, I just go right through. I think it's because titanium like doesn't the what type of metal it is, it won't set off those
Mm.
alarms. But at the airport, since it's a lot more strict, maybe it does. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done
Yeah,
it.
if you ever go on a plane to California to visit, then we'll know.
Yeah,
You'll have to tell us if that ever happens.
yeah, exactly. I'll probably get pulled aside for those, random checks due to some stuff I've said online.
Well, that was a really fun fact that I didn't actually know about. So thanks, Brandon, for sharing.
Yeah.
May your hip know longevity and stability for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
May you not fall again on that one side.
I know. I only got one good hit left.
All right, well, we'll go on next to Kevin. How about you introduce yourself and maybe give a fun fact or talk about a random event in your lore that you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure. My name is Kevin, and I'm currently working full time. And I guess a fun fact is that I've been involved with like law enforcement or police like twice in my life.
What?
I think I've told the story. I'm not sure if you're there, Jillian, but I've told the story to some people in our group. But yeah, I don't want. I mean, I don't know if you guys want me to tell it now because it might delay things a little. So it's up to you.
We got
Oh, no,
time.
go for it.
Yeah.
Oh
Definitely go
boy,
for it.
story time at the beginning of our podcast.
Yes,
Okay, so
perfect.
my first story, the first time I got involved with police was this is the longer one. So it was right after high school, and I had just started dating my ex,
Mm.
whom I was with for like 3 years. But anyway, we just started dating after high school. It's like the summer before college or university, and um, so, long story short, like 17, 18-year-old guy, what do you think is on his mind, right? Like he's fucking horny, right? So, anyway, my ex, like, she was like, "Oh, you want to come over and like cuddle?" It was like fucking like midnight, by the way. And her family's sleeping, right? Her parents and her like little brother. And she's like, "Want to come over and cuddle?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go." So I drive over to her place. She's like 3 miles away. It wasn't that bad. At like midnight, and I have to climb. She lives in like a. If I say mobile home, you guys are gonna think trailer, but it's not like a trailer. It's just like a home that's you can actually lift up and like, move.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
looks like a
I
house
understand.
from the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she lived in a mobile home. So her room normally it's on the first floor, but it's like 1.5 floors, so it's like a little elevated because it's a mobile home. So I climbed through her. I went to the side of her house, climbed into her window from outside. If her neighbor saw me, it'd be suspect as fuck, right? But it's like 1 a.m., midnight, 1 a.m., and no one's like awake in the neighborhood. So I climb in, and and it's like a Sunday night. So the next day would have been Monday, like a work day. So I climb in and we chill for the night, and then I sleep over, like because I fell asleep. I don't remember. Yeah, I think I fell asleep. And then her dad goes to work the next morning, right? Because it's Monday. And her mom, I don't think her mom worked. Yeah, her mom didn't work, so she stayed home. And we're so it's like 7, 8 a.m. and we hear the door open and we wake up and she's like, "Oh my god, hi, don't make a sound." And she like pushes the blanket over me. And then her mom comes in and she's like Chinese. And her mom comes in and he's like, oh, she's Chinese, but also like she spoke Vietnamese too because she was born in Vietnam. So I understood. So her mom was speaking Vietnamese. She was like, "Who's under the blanket?" And my heart obviously sunk to like, can you imagine like how you would feel that moment? And she's like, "Oh no, no one's under the blanket." And her mom's like, "It looks like a person is under your So she comes over, she walks over, I hear her walking over, and she pulls the blanket over, and she sees me. She's like, and then she just turns her daughter. She's like, "Are you fucking crazy?" Like in Vietnamese, like, "Are you fucking crazy? You know how your dad is? Like, are you seriously doing this?" And she's like, "Oh, does he speak like Vietnamese or Chinese?" And my ex was like, "Oh, he speaks Vietnamese." And she turns to me. She's like, "Are you really doing this? Like, do you know what you're doing? Do you know like the consequences and like how her dad is, like what type of person he is?" And I was like, oh. In my head, I know because she's told me, like my ex told me, her dad like has a temper and he like gets kind of crazy. And I was just like apologetic, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I fucked up." I mean, I didn't say I fucked up. I said I shouldn't have done this. I'm sorry. I know it's wrong. I just sat there. She's like, just sit right there. I'm gonna call her dad to come home. And I was like,
Oh
"Oh
no!
fuck!"
Oh fuck!
And
She threw you under the bus.
but I was just like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll wait. I'll just hear it." And then she calls her husband, the dad, and he comes home like 30 minutes later. I'm just sitting there for 30 minutes, by the way, while her mom is lecturing my ex, or her mom is lecturing her. I'm just sitting there quietly. I'm like, "Oh fuck, I fucked up." And then her dad comes home and he's like, "What happened? Like what?" And the mom explains it to him, and he's just like furious. He's like yelling, like, "Oh my god, like you're ruining your life. What are you doing? Blah blah blah." And he turns to me. He's like, "What are you doing? Like, do you know what you're doing? Like, how bad this is?" And I was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm just sorry." I'm like super apologetic. I'm super serious. I don't smile or laugh or anything. I only talk when he answered or he asked me a question. Um, so he's just like, "Okay, I'm gonna call the cops." And I said, obviously I'm feeling worse, but what can I say? Right? I'm just like, "Okay, yeah, okay." And he calls the cops and they come and basically they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And the dad explains like, "He broke into our house, blah blah blah." And then the cops are like, "Okay, we're gonna talk to them in separate rooms." So there's two cops. There's one like male cop and one female cop. And the female cop talks to me, and the male cop talks to my ex. And basically, the female cop was like, "Oh, did you do anything like, like sexually?" And I was like, "Oh no, no, we didn't." And she's like, "Okay." And she's like, "How old are you?" And I think at the time I was 17 and a half. And she's like, "Okay." And she's like, "Okay, it looks really bad, but just only answer questions when you're asked and don't say anything else." So I was like, "Okay." So they bring everyone together into the room, and basically dad's like, "Oh, can we file a restraining order?" Like, and they're like, "No, he's under 18. You can't do that to him." And the dad's like, "Well, what can we do to make sure he like never sees a bar again?" And they're like, "Well, you can't really do anything about that." And he's like, "Can I file anything against him?" And they're like, "No, he didn't break in because your daughter let him into the house." So, and the dad was just like super mad. He's like, "Okay, well, I don't want to see his face for a while." And yeah, so the cop was just like, "Yeah, okay." And then he's like, "Just let me go," pretty much. And the cops were explaining to the dad like, the kid like actually sat there and waited for you to come home, and then after you told him that you're calling the cops, he actually just sat there and waited for the cops to come. Usually people do not do that. Like usually people run away like instantly. So like the kid's like super respectful. You should like keep that in mind. And the dad was like, whatever, I don't want to see him anymore. So they just let me go. And then when I was leaving, the cop who opened the door for me, she was like, yeah, you should probably lay low for a while and don't like talk to her for a bit, and just to let things cool down. I was like, yeah, thank you so much. And then I got to go.
And then you went back the next day, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was the first time. The second time was not as bad. The second time it was just like me and my ex. We were like in the backseat of my car in Julian, you know the Evergreen Library near your old place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in the backseat of my car in that parking lot at it's like midnight, like on a weekday or something. And you're not supposed to be parked in that parking lot. It's like a private parking lot while the library's closed. Mm-hmm. So I think someone left and saw my car because there's an empty parking lot aside from that one car. I think it was an employee of the library. I think they called the police because my ex and I were like making out in the back seat. And we see a light shine through my window, and I'm like, oh shit. And then the cop's like knocking on the window. He's like, can you come out of the car, please? And we're like, oh fuck. So I come out, and obviously I just like close the door because my girlfriend's in there, or my ex is in there, and he's like, it's a private parking lot. You can't be doing this here. Just like go home or something. And I was like, okay, sorry. Then we left. We got off easy. I think I got off easy both times, but I kind of attribute that to being like kind of respectful, understanding I did wrong. But those are the two times I've been involved with police in my life. So.
Oh my god,
yeah.
That's the first time I've heard about that story. That's crazy.
I tell people the first story, and they're always like, "What the fuck?"
I know. Yeah. I wonder how your ex is doing now, because her dad seems like a real piece of work.
Oh, I think she's doing fine. She went to like veterinary school or something. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
As like reality TV, not reality TV, but like a teenage drama, like sitcom sort of situation where like you actually climb through her window. And also like the part where like her mom was like, it's clearly a person underneath there.
Oh my god. It's a lot funnier when I tell the story than when I was in the moment. It's just yeah.
It's like, was it like really like thin sheets or something? Was it like actually like a duvet and like, I don't know, just didn't cover you up that well?
No, it was a pretty big blanket, but like I was curled up, like in fetal position, and you can kind of see there's like And the funniest part? The only people who know in my family is my brother.
Your parents don't know?
Oh. Would you tell your parents? Hell no.
Well, I figured they might have found out eventually, but guess not. Like his dad, like.
Yeah, I only told my brother last year. So,
yeah. Last year only?
And it happened like 7 years ago almost. So, yeah.
During AX, you're like airing out your dirty laundry with your brother and just like.
yeah, last year's AX is what I told him. Because I visited him and his fiance.
That's hilarious. Well, damn. I didn't expect y'all to pick such really interesting stories. I was just going to say something really like light, but now I'm going to dig up my personal lore.
What's your craziest story?
Let's see, what was my craziest story? Well, first off, I need to introduce myself. My name's Jillian. I'm kind of like the host here for the podcast. And so...
Whoa, who made you the leader?
Would you like to try hosting the whole time?
No, it's all you. It's all you.
Just because I'm hosting doesn't mean I'm the leader per se. Come on now. Let's see. What was the crazy story in my lore? Should I tell you one of my crazy church stories?
Can I ask a question about church? Wait, Brandon, do you go to church, dude? No.
No, church.
Okay. I just hear something about church where it's like all the teenage kids are friends or they date each other and shit. Is that true?
Date each other in church?
Or everyone in church is kind of close, or all the kids know each other. So you guys.
Yeah, for sure. that's definitely true, at least from my experience too. Like it's such a close knit community in the sense that the family sort of expect you to only like relationships in the church itself. So it's kind of like the dating pool is like super constricted in a way too, because you're just like, oh, like you need to date that good Christian girl, that good Christian boy and stuff. And so I guess that actually brings me into a really good story too, because like when I used to go to church a lot, um, as a kid, I didn't really have much places to like, hang out before church and stuff. So I usually like, stay in the car or like go to like my friend's car and we just like watch YouTube videos or like play our games on our Nintendo DSs. And so it was like one day with church. And so I was trying to look for my friend. And so I was walking around the parking lot a bit and then I see their car. And so I'm like, oh, look, my friend's in there. So I like, I don't even bother to like knock. I just open the car door. And inside the car, I just see like these two like teenagers. And at the time I was just like, a younger kid. They were just fucking making out aggressively in the back seat of the car. And I was like, oh, I just closed the door. Door. I don't even say anything else. I just slam the door and just like speed walk my way out there. And I just go inside the church chapel and just like sit in there. And like my parents are like, in the back and they were like they see me walk in like, oh, like you're here early. Like you usually don't come in like until like actually like it's the sermon starts. I'm like, oh yeah, no. I'm just feeling super passionate about like listening to today's lesson and stuff. And so yeah, every time I walked into those two teenagers, I would just like beeline it back where I came. I just do not want to talk to them anymore.
That's funny.
I've done.
Yeah.
I walked into some like I was going to my friend's house and I walked into his neighbor's house one time thinking it was his house. The neighbor just like looked at me and was like, "What are you doing? Like, who are you?"
It was so awkward too because I opened the door and then obviously they stop after they notice I'm there, and then we just like made eye contact for like a good 3 seconds, and I just slammed the door and just run away basically. And that was pretty funny.
Did it say room for one more? No.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess because at the time I was still like trying to figure out like my sexuality, so like, yeah, like I was still like pondering like straight romances and stuff. So like, yeah, that wouldn't have been out of the question in that sense. But damn, that was crazy. I think for sure Kevin wins with that super amazing story. Nothing can really beat getting the cops calling you by an irate Asian dad. So. Well, that's perfect. Thanks so much, everyone, for sharing such fun little tidbits of your lore, so to speak. But yeah, moving on into the rest of the podcast, I feel like there's so much we could talk about after our brief hiatus. And so, first thing that comes to mind is actually Baldur's Gate 3. I know a lot of us are, playing it right now, and it seems to be a really popular game just in the wider like gaming community. And I think it's gonna be like end up being like a game of the year contender, so to speak. So I kind of want to leave the floor open for you two to talk about the game and like how you enjoy it so far because I haven't gotten the chance to play it yet, but I just know that there's like so much that people like about it
Are
of
we
the
allowed
very risque variety.
Are we allowed to spoil any?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know where to start with that game, honestly. That's just that's just really fun. Like you can be so creative with how you go about the game. Like uh I'm trying to think of like anything specific, but yeah, I don't know. It's just all the fights are fun. Nothing feels impossible. There's only one fight that I've come along where like no matter what me and my friend do, we haven't been able to complete it yet. I don't. Kevin, have you gotten to the fight where you're like in the big mantle thing, and the big like you pull the lava valve and the big armored robot spawns and he like you,
The Forge.
yeah, or the forge.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my friend are playing on the hardest difficulty, and dude, we cannot kill that robot. It's like no matter what.
Oh, you guys just wanted to play on the hardest difficulty?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you guys are crazy.
But like, the fights are so creative. Like it's a big forge, and like you know, the Forge, you have the big like slam down the mantle thing and and to make the sharpen the sword or whatever. And you
Yeah,
can do that on the robot. Like you can hit him with the big thing that comes down from the ceiling, and it deals like
yeah,
a
that's
bunch
how we
of
killed them.
damage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with the game. What about you, Kevin?
Hmm.
I don't. You guys know me. Like, I don't play a lot of like RPG or single player games. Like, mostly I play like nowadays like Valorant or like Eternal Return, which is like competitive online multiplayer games. But
Mhm.
when I do play like single player games, rarely, I'm always like the past like 5 years or so. It feels like so many games I play are like they feel like incomplete or like people
Yeah.
release them in early access. Like, hey, buy
Mhm.
this shit now. We'll finish it later. That kind of thing. You know, games just feel like half-assed. Like the devs were forced to push them out by investors or whatever, and
Mhm.
it just never feels like a complete game. And when you get a rare game like Baldur's Gate, where it actually feels like a complete game on release, and you paid what is like $60-$70 for like so much content in a video game, it just
Mhm.
feels like the old days, like when you're younger and you paid for a game and it was like there's so much to do, right?
Yeah.
It just feels special. Like when you know a game like is going to be game of the year for sure, like with the Elden Ring, like you just knew, like this game, you just know it's going to be game of the year, like 100%, no doubt in your mind. And I think other game developers or game companies, they're scared by like a game like Baldur's Gate because it's like, oh fuck, now like this is what we have to like strive to achieve. This is what
Mhm.
we're comparing our people are comparing our games to now. This is AAA, a
Mhm.
true AAA. It's really good, but as for the game itself, I guess the way I can describe it is, can you imagine like Dungeons and Dragons, like when you play D&D, how many possibilities there are? Like when you make a
Mhm.
decision, there are so many ways you can go about it, and each person would go about it a different way because everyone's different, creatively. And I think Baldur's Gate is special in that way that there's so many different options you have. You can play the game so many different ways with classes and decisions, and you don't have to do anything really unless it's like the main storyline. But even then, there's like so many different ways to approach it.
Yeah, and not there's not like one single big choice where it like locks you into a certain part of like a certain path. Like even throughout the entire story, like in the second act, I chose to follow the evil spider dude instead of go with the I always forget the names of everything, but and then the actual like good people, I was like, oh okay, I'll just join you instead and kill the spider dude like instead of following him the entire time. And like it's nice that you're not locked down to one choice. Well, one choice doesn't decide your entire campaign. Like
Mhm.
Yeah, but definitely like while I'm playing the game and you like just think about the voice acting, think about the just the game itself, the gameplay, you kind of realize how much went into this. It probably took them forever and a shit ton of money to make this game. Like
Mhm.
just the detail with everything, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. It's definitely
Mhm.
the greatest game that I've seen for years, actually in the past
Mhm.
years.
yeah, and like they made the bold choice of like limiting the level cap to like 12, right? Which I don't even know
Mhm.
if it's the bold choice, but it makes so much sense from like a gameplay perspective too. Like because spellcasters just become super OP past level
Yeah.
12. So it's cool that you can't just become super OP. Like you just have to play the game, and
Mhm.
you can't just cheese it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of interesting points there, and it just makes you wonder too. Like, even though this game may end up being like a game of the year contender and stuff, would you necessarily say that like they had an advantage because a good bulk of like the gameplay is D&D basically, so they have a whole system that they can pull off of, and so having that sort of in place allows them to like focus on a lot of different other areas like the story and like the characters and the voice acting, and so without that, do you think it's like even a good game in that sense?
No, because yeah, they pulled a lot from the D&D, but when you really think about it, a lot of these other games they already have like sort of a base too. Like there's a really popular game in that genre where they kind of like base their game off of and try to improve on what was already made in that game, right? So Yeah, they had a really strong base, but they still had to make a good game, right? They could have just made a crappy game with a boring story and easy combat. So I don't
Hmm.
think, even though they had like an entire rulebook already written for them, I think other game developers kind of have a similar thing with like the games they base their games off of.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point too. Like for sure, there's been plenty of AAA games, so to speak, that have been kind of pretty much shitty in a way. And so I think it's good that Baldur's Gate 3 has been able to take D&D and like add its own twists to it, or building on top of a great foundation and making it even better, right?
Yeah,
And
because
so
you can
oh, go
think
ahead.
about like think about Anthem. Like that was basically supposed to be Destiny 2, right? But it was
Mm,
just complete garbage, and nobody played it like 2 weeks after launch because it was so bad. But it was supposed to be like their response to Destiny 2, and they completely failed. You know.
hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like they had the base of D&D is why they're successful. It's just like Valorant or Overwatch. There's a lot of clones of CS:GO and
Hmm.
TF2, right? Overwatch is based off TF2 and Valorant's based off CS:GO, but none of them are really as successful as Overwatch or Valorant in that sense. But
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, I wouldn't say it's based off D&D. Their foundation were their previous games. So Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, but not only that, the super successful, and I had really a lot of fun with Sabrina on Divinity Original Sin. So that's another game of theirs. And they just from all those successful games, I think they learned a lot, and it all kind of culminated in this like one masterpiece of a game, which is Baldur's Gate
Hmm.
3. So yeah, I think they're just an amazing game dev company.
It's like the exact opposite of Diablo.
Blizzard,
Well, you
Blizzard.
see, Diablo was made by a small indie company called Blizzard Entertainment, so can't really compare them to Larian Studios.
Yeah,
That's cool, though. I'm not really familiar with the rest of their games. I didn't realize they made Divinity 2.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, really good game.
Yep.
mhm. So, on the topic of Baldur's Gate 2, 3 too, a lot of the community really loves these characters, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of great fan art of, the ladies in the group, Shadowheart and
Throw
and the
all
other
of
two
them
that I can't
out,
think
bro.
of.
I'm all about Withers. Withers is where it's at.
I
And
don't know if
so,
you know
like,
who Withers is, Jillian, but he's like a skeletal mage. It's kind of funny.
oh, I think I know what you're talking
I
about.
forget
Yeah,
It's
what's
like
the question he
he
asks
looks like
you when you first
Voldemort.
meet him.
he's like, "What's the value of a
Oh yeah,
life?" You have
yeah.
multiple
What,
answers. Yeah.
Jillian? What is the value of a human life?
Wait, you have to like give her the options though.
I don't remember the option.
I don't remember the options either.
You already failed me, Brandon.
My
Wait,
You
bad.
bring
Brandon,
up
wait, what did you choose for? I think the answer I chose was like the best answer apparently for him.
Yeah, I think I chose that one too. But I wanted to choose the one where it was about coin. But Withers is pretty cool
you
looking,
greedy
so
son of a bitch.
yeah, do anything for some coin. I mean,
It's pretty good.
but yeah,
Okay, but like, how's like the relationship building in the game? Like, are you able to rizz up everyone and anyone?
um,
Uh,
not just anyone. They have to be like companions typically.
Hmm.
yeah, if
So
you
basically,
wanna,
just party members.
Yeah.
yeah, the main side characters in like the main companions in your camp, you can form relationships with them. But if you're talking about Riz like sex, you can have sex with a lot of characters.
Oh,
Not
can
just, not
you?
just yeah, you can just like random ass characters in town. You can have, you'll
See,
see. But
in my
yeah,
in my like main run, like the one where I've gone the furthest, the issue is most of the characters are kind of dead. So,
Oh,
like,
you killed all your characters, Brandon? You want all your characters killed? Oh man,
quite possibly. I mean, we do have a literal
mage.
nuclear bomb walking with us, but
oh
That's supposed to
but
be the tiefling chick.
no,
no,
it's
it's Gale.
the human mage guy named Gale.
Yeah,
Oh, he's a bomb.
yeah, he becomes a literal nuclear bomb. He has an
Yeah.
ability
What the
where,
heck?
yeah, if you use it, it just wipes your entire party. It like kills everything.
God damn. Is that like that's like a D&D move where it's like heroic sacrifice, but
Mhm.
you know, it's just the team-wide sacrifice. You're killing yourself and everyone else.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, tell me, like the characters, like, do you guys have a favorite, like, least favorite? Like,
Least favorite is Gale.
who do you use in your party? You don't like Gale?
No,
Why?
it's just annoying.
He's, you don't like having the human bomb on your team?
That part's pretty cool, but like he's hungry for magic items, like, and he's like whiny if he doesn't get them. Oh no, I'm starving to death because I don't have magic items to eat. Like, oh, I don't know. And just the way he talks, I don't like it.
Hmm.
But
I think appearance-wise, it's like Shadowheart is my favorite, just like appearance-wise. But she kind of annoys. Her personality annoys me, and
Why?
I don't know. She's just kind of like super religious about her goddess, and
Oh.
she's just like, I want to do everything to help my goddess Shar.
Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah. And then if you get her to a point in the story, sorry spoilers, but she gets to be like the chosen like supporter or whatever champion of her goddess. She's like,
Hmm.
I do this though, I'll have to like forsake our relationship. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? You're choosing religion over us. But
Man.
anyway, appearance wise, it's Shadowheart. Personality wise, it's Karlak. She's like the tiefling
Little
chick.
Steve,
She
Yeah.
has a cool ass personality. She's cool.
like a little puppy, right? She was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
personality.
Yeah, you would like her personality a lot, Jillian. Least favorite character is Lae'zel. She's like the
I was just about to say
She's ugly.
I take
It's
back
because she's
what I said
ugly,
about
isn't it?
Gale. I forgot about Lazo, but that's because I kill her at the beginning of every single run.
What the heck,
she's
Brandon?
so annoying.
Yeah,
Oh
she
my
is
God.
really annoying.
I
Actually,
saw like
one of the
Oh, yeah,
runs,
go ahead.
Shadowheart killed her. So
I didn't realize it was possible.
yeah, there's like there's a cutscene at camp, like once you do a long rest, where
I saw
Shadowheart
that.
kills her.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the option of like defusing the situation or just watching her kill her.
Yep.
Oh, I always defuse the situation.
Oh yeah, I
What
do
the
not have
heck?
a
I should
problem
let her
with
kill
that.
her. Fuck.
It's so funny.
The funny part is her like dead body like stays in camp. So even though you're traveling, you're traveling around to different places and different camps, her dead body is at every single camp for some reason.
Why?
I
You're
don't
just
know.
lugging it around,
Yeah.
your prize. That's crazy. Well, damn. It does seem like a really fun game. Eventually, I will download it and try it myself, and
Yeah.
maybe try to rizz up either Shadow or Carlike. I don't know which of the two.
Wait, can you do both, Brandon? I don't know if that's a possibility.
I don't know. Like I said, doing a lot of killing, not a lot of rizzing.
His purpose is to kill, not to find love.
It's really like you want me to do this thing, I want coin for doing this thing, and then I'm going to kill you. Like,
God damn. Well, I know what your priorities are now. Holy fuck. All right. Well, that was cool. Thanks so much for giving me a little bit of a rundown of Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I didn't realize that, the gameplay was going to be that fun, or like it sounds really fun. So, yeah, gives me a lot of excitement to try it eventually. But, anyways, moving on to the next topic for today. In the meantime that we've had between now and our last episode, we've been through a few events, one of which was Valorant's VCT Championships in Los Angeles, which is really cool, having like one of the major like international Valorant tournaments in our home turf, basically in the U.S. And so me, Kevin, and one of our friends, Tung, actually went there for the grand finals, and it was really really fun experience. And I would love to just like dive into it, for today and like talk about our most memorable moments and like what it was like being in the crowd and stuff. So, Kevin, how about you? Like, did you have any like particular like fond memories about our event and stuff?
Before we do that, let's just give the backstory or like an overview for Brandon. So
Yeah, sure.
we like flew down. The event was on Saturday, the grand finals, and we flew down to LA on Friday morning, at like 10, 11 a.m. And then for Friday, we just chilled because we didn't have anything to do. So we just went to Koreatown, we ate, and then we chilled in our hotel room, and then we ate dinner. And that's pretty much all we did. We just chilled all day on Friday, and
Pretty
then
much.
yeah, on Saturday morning we had to wake up early because the fan fest, it's like a little fan thing, bunch of events happening outside the venue, the arena. before the game actually started. So we had to wake up early, start at 8 a.m., and we wake up at like 6, 7. And then we got to the venue, we waited in line, we got in, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's like offline TV, had to meet up a bunch of artists, a lot of ride devs slash artists who are doing signings. Um, what did I do? I don't know about Jillian. Jillian and I got through, and we just split up immediately because she went to
Yeah.
redo her stuff, and I just went straight for I beeline for the merch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I bought a shit ton of merch. I gotta show you a picture of all of this shit I bought, Brandon. But it was fun. The fan fest was fun. Um, I think if I were to do it again, I would have just taken like 4 days off or like 3 days off and just gone to all the days. Because
Mhm.
doing all the FanFest stuff in one day, I didn't get to do the offline TV thing. I kind of wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe next year. Well, they're probably never going to have it in NA for a while.
Could have been
Again.
your best friend Scaro.
I know. He was only there on Thursday or Friday, I think, unfortunately. But yeah, the FanFest was fun, and then we got in, and the games, it was 3-1 in the end, so it was really fun. We had like this wristband, I think, that would
Oh, yeah.
glow whenever the bomb was ticking down, the spike was ticking down. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, when I went to LCS finals, they had a similar thing, but I don't know when it ticked off. But
Yeah, and the opening ceremony was super cool. We were like sitting super close to the bottom, so when the flames would shoot up during the opening ceremony, the music ceremony, we would just feel in our faces like super hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool. The trophy was like being hoisted down right from the ceiling. It was really cool. Yeah, but the games were cool. Definitely would do it again. What about you, Jillian?
Yeah, like when the flames were coming up, I was like a little bit worried because like I had put oil in my hair that day, so like, oh my god, my hair is on fire! And so I was like, ooh, every time the flame came up, I was like sitting up in my chair. But yeah, like I'm a pretty big fan of like esports overall, so I kind of like followed the players on EG specifically because before all the drama came out with EG, I was still a fan, so I was like following them for a bit, and so I was really invested in them winning this time around, and so I really enjoyed like the whole event. Like you, I really wish that we had more time to like go to the campus and stuff because when we got there, everything was already so packed. Like everything, the lines were like all full, especially for like offline TV and like all the influencers that were there. So that was kind of sucky not being able to like talk to them and stuff. But I had a good time because um, I came to the fan fest with like, you know, a goal of like talking to all like the esports teams, like employees that were there because, I'm interested in like the esports industry and like, hearing about it and like, networking with people. So like I want to do that when I'm at fan fest. So I first went to like the Team Liquid booth because I wanted to talk to people there, but their line was actually really long, and they actually had like a really like fun, like interactive, like fan fest like event where they were basically like playing Connect Four with all the people in line and stuff. And even if you didn't beat the Team Liquid employee at Connect Four, they would still give you at least something as a consolation prize, which is basically like a 20% off coupon on their on their Team Liquid store, which is like okay because I do like their merchandise a lot. I think they have like the best like team merchandise out of anyone in the league, aside from like Team 100 Thieves, of course. But I really like the booth. I didn't really get a chance to like talk to them too much because since it was really busy, like they were of course like, doing their jobs. Like I'm not gonna talk to them that much. But EG was also there too, and their booth was like a little bit more mellow because they only really had like the Potter cutout, and so you just go there and take a picture, and that's it. You just leave, right? But what was interesting was that one of their marketing like leads was actually there, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk to her. But some random ass old boomer dude who apparently works as one of their partners, like one of their partner companies, like there, and she was just talking to her the whole time about random stuff, and I was like, I can't just stand here and wait for this to be done. So I left and did another lap around the event, and that time I ended up walking into the one of the lead producers of Valorant, Riot, like Anna, like Super Bananas or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, you're one of the producers," and so I was like, "Can I take a picture with you?" And she's like, "Oh, sure." And so that was really fun, getting a chance to like talk to her because of course she was like really busy and stuff. And I went back, and so she was free, like the EG person was free, and so I walked up to her like, hey, like I remember you, like you're so and so, and she's like, oh yeah, and so because we actually follow each other on Twitter and stuff, so we're familiar with each other, And so I just spent like the next like 20-ish minutes just like talking to her about EG and like esports and the event. So it's like really fun time. Like I feel like we've gotten like more familiar with each other from doing that. And so yeah, it's just so nice being able to talk with people from EG that I've like admired for a while. Um, and then after that, when I was like in line to go into the actual like stadium, we had gotten like separated for a bit, and so I was like just talking to people in line. And I was actually talking to this one chick who's actually like, really into the Valorant game changer scene, and she's actually like she's played in it before, and she's actually part of a team that's like gonna play in like the next bout of like matches. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so we exchanged like Twitter account information and stuff, and like her team is like Team Fingies or something, which is like
Wait, who?
super funny name. Yeah, it's like they have like a content sort of team called Team Fingies, but they also play like game changers too. So that was like really funny.
Oh.
But yeah, like and then during like the actual games, like I think the whole series was really really like exciting to watch, especially because like I think EG was pretty much in the zone that entire time. I think like everyone on their roster was like doing such a great job throughout each game. For sure, my MVP, personal MVP, was like Jogamo, especially on the last map, which was like Lotus. He was like playing race and stuff, and like, he was so good. I was like super impressed, and it was funny too because the guy right next to me was rooting for PRX, and so I feel like I was personally competing with him to see who was cheering for the other team like the most. And so I'm sure like once PRX lost, he was just like quiet in his seat. I'm like, damn, feels bad, man. But I'm like, my team won. Let's go. And I hope we may not win an LCS or World Championship for League of Legends, but we will win Valorant. So that's cool.
Yeah, Brandon. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like, yeah, even though EG's won, I'm still gonna hold their allegations against them, but I'm just glad that they won something. And they won something.
Yeah. Thank
Let's
God.
go.
Brandon, there's this guy behind us, and he was just like chanting, "Let's go, EG, let's go," like every 5 seconds. And whenever he did, EG would lose the round. So he was just like, "Shut the fuck up." And he would do it too, like when nothing was happening, like when the commentators were just like talking to each other. He'd be like, "Let's go, EG, let's go." I'd just be like, "No, stop."
Shut up.
It's like, am I the asshole for telling the guy to be quiet after chanting for EG to win? Now, it was funny too because when it got to the game 4, he ended up switching over. He's like, "Let's go PRX," and some dude beside him was like, "I thought you were ready for EG." He's like, "Oh, I am. But I'm just, I want to make it to a game 5." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up.
No,
we don't want a game 5.
5, bro.
We don't want a game 5. Stop it." Oh, it was funny though.
Jillian, now you know how it feels to be on the other end, right?
I do.
Telling somebody to stop the curse.
No, literally. No, it was a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was joining in too. I was like, "Let's go, BG." And then it was like the USA chance too. I was like, USA. USA.
Always.
Apparently, there was also TSM chance, but they were like on the other side of the arena
Yeah.
and very quiet. And so, yeah, we can't have a major esports event without someone chanting TSM. Am I right?
It'll happen soon. RIP LCS.
Mhm. Okay, but can I also talk about how like I ended up running into Jonah P from the guard
No.
at FanFest? I was like, okay, because like when we were at FanFest, they were giving everyone like these little like coupons for like, exclusive like event rewards, which ended up not being that cool. They were just like, you could have gotten this by doing the login event in the Valorant, client anyways. But I went back to get, the code because I had like dropped it. I was like walking around. And so I went back to the entrance and I saw Jonah P coming in, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're Jonah P from the guard!" And so I took a picture with him, and it was really cool because I was like a fan of the guard for a while. But then it wasn't that cool when they, the news came out that they weren't able to go into the VCT, like, that, what do they call it, Challengers League, like the highest peak of the competition where all of the franchise teams are. They got screwed over by the guard, the organization, because they apparently didn't sign important documentation, and so all these 5 dudes wouldn't be able to compete. And so that was like just really shell shocking for the entire community, basically. And I just felt really sad because like I was so excited to see Jonah P compete with the guard, having only just taken a picture of him a few days prior. But it's really great to hear that, rights, got some sense and they're letting the guys play in some which way or form. And so there's a bunch of rumors about who's going to actually like take in those guard players and like basically ascend into the league. And so people are saying it might be G2 or even Disguise, but I don't think Disguise will be able to afford it. But we'll see. I do hope that Disguise gets in the league somehow. But yeah, I'm just like it just makes me feel like um, sad that it had come to that point where these players wouldn't be able to compete, for a while. Um, but it's cool that they're finally gonna be in there, and I hope that the guard will actually like get to the finals like next year because I think their caliber of players are actually like worthy of being like in that grand finals. I think we're gonna see the guard go into the grand finals next year. I have no doubt in my bones.
I don't know about that.
I think so. I think so.
All right.
Oh, cool. Um, there's another thing I want to talk about, which is just basically convention stuff, because I did go to another event like the weekend after Valorant Champions. I know. Why did I do this to myself? I went on another trip the weekend after. It was kind of rough because I got back home. I worked like 4 days, and then I took another flight, and I didn't
No
even get the
rest.
day off when I like flew over there. Yeah, I went to PAX West this past weekend, like last weekend basically, and so that was a really fun experience. Only because I had went there because I was part of a nonprofit organization called Queer Women of Esports, and they have a lot of close relationships with people who run PAX, and they were invited specifically to like come to partner with the PAX Arena, which is like the part of the convention which is all about the esports tournaments and some of the influencer like events. And so they invited us to come up there to like have our booth there to talk about the organization and then also to actually work at the PAX Arena itself. And so that's basically what I did for the past weekend. I was working at the PAX Arena, helping out with the production and streaming and like tournament operations and basically just like helping out wherever. And so I also got the chance to like actually like help out with the influencer event too, which is like this thing called the Battle of the Brands, where a bunch of these influencers were flown out to Seattle to represent these different like fast food companies like McDonald's, like and Jack in the Box and stuff, and they would just play Fortnite the whole time. So it was just this big Fortnite tournament with fast food companies fighting against each other. And so I got to actually like talk to those influencers and like tell them when it was time for them to go onto the stage to play and like give them tea and stuff. And so I got to give tea to one of my favorite streamers, ex Chogo Bars. It was like super cool. I was fangirling so much internally, but I kept it inside myself. But yeah, one thing I wish I was able to do more was actually walk around the event so much because it's like this gaming convention, right? And so it's like a lot of different gaming companies that are there with their own booths. They're either showcasing like their new games or they have like, demos or, they have their own like merch shops like set up in their own booths. And so I really wanted to go to the Square Enix one and the Pokemon one, but because my schedule was like too busy to actually go there. And so when I did eventually have the time to like see what's up, their booths were like so packed with so many people, and like the lines were super long. I was like, couldn't get the chance to actually go in there. Um, but I also wanted to actually go to a few panels as well. There was one that I wanted to go to, which is like the Final Fantasy 16 panel, where they actually invited like the voice actors of the major characters there to come. But I had a shift that time, so I couldn't sit down and go. But I had one of my friends visit and just like get one of the exclusive events merchandise that they were handing out to all the guests. And so I got this really awesome like exclusive pin of the main character Clive, and they're not selling it anywhere else, so it's exclusive to the event only. So I felt very happy getting that.
Nice.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you really like just playing a lot of unique titles and like indie games, because there were a lot of different indie game companies that were there with their own demos, and I actually got to play a few really awesome like games. There was one that I really liked called Miss Mirthwood. Yeah, Mirthwood. It's kind of like a Don't Starve together, but single player. And the vibe is just like you get stranded on like this sort of forest area, and you're basically trying to like forage and like you know basically survive. And you also get to interact with a lot of NPCs too. So it's definitely like something up my alley, I would say, because like a single player experience, which I like. You can like, control like where you explore and stuff, and basically forage and make whatever tools or weapons that you want. And so I'm definitely adding that to my wish list for sure. But it was a really cool event. I hope to go again next year.
Yeah, nice. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, it was really
jealous.
fun.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, isn't like PAX East like kind of close to where you live,
I,
Brandon?
no, not close.
Mm.
It's like if it's even in like I don't even know if it's in like New York. I guess that's like probably 8 hour drive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't even actually know where it is. I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I could look it up real
Yeah,
quick.
definitely recommend going because apparently PAX East is actually like the bigger event out of all the PAXs that they have, and there's like apparently more stuff to do there. So sounds like a fun time. If my organization ends up having another like similar partnership with PAX East, I'm probably gonna try and get probably gonna try and like attend that too as like part of like their their volunteer team again. So that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Definitely interesting going.
it's
I'm definitely obsessed. The con fever is real, y'all. I don't know what it is about conventions, man, but they're usually really fun, especially if you get someone that really interests you and stuff. Um, yeah,
yeah,
it makes me want to like go to more
yeah. It's in
conventions.
Boston, which is even further away. It'd be like a 12 hour drive. So
Half-hour drive,
12 hour.
12-hour drive.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
road trip time.
yeah.
Have you been to
You
Boston before,
guys.
Brandon?
No, no, I've never been to Boston. I haven't traveled that much. I probably will like starting next year once I actually like, graduate. But right now,
Yes, sir.
right now,
Where
it's
would be the first place that you travel to?
California.
Yeah, come visit, dude. Come on.
yeah,
Although I
probably
don't.
honestly, that's where like where I know the most people. So I probably will be honestly.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
nice.
Yeah, because I have a couple other buddies living out there now. So
Mm.
it's a hot
Is-
commodity, California. You know,
Yeah,
hot place to live.
would you ever want to like move to
No,
California or like a
no,
different state?
no. Are you kidding me?
You're like, no. That's fair. That's fair.
If I'm leaving
Okay, but would you
Michigan,
move
it is.
somewhere? You like Michigan?
Um, I would like to move abroad, but
Ooh.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
What are you thinking? The Netherlands?
No, no.
Portugal?
It would be an Asian country. Is
Oh,
where I would try to
Asian,
live.
okay, Japan. Weeaboo! You want to live in Tokyo?
Actually, Korea would be the first choice, but
Oh.
Really?
yeah,
Korea?
even though like it's kind of they're much harsher like in jobs and stuff, I still think I'd like to go there. I like.
Because you like K-pop and
Oh no,
K-drama,
no.
and you just want to get more access to BB, huh? You just want to go to a BB concert.
Oh
Oh, I
yeah,
love BB.
yeah. New Jeans. I'd go to everything New Jeans.
Korea? Better learn Korean, buddy. Better work on your Hangul, buddy.
Exactly, exactly. But
Yeah, I don't know, man. As much as I like Asia as, you know, someone who doesn't live there currently, if I do move there, like, I'm not ready for basically the old ways of thinking, right? Because Korea, especially, is like a really like backwards country in terms of like equality and like gender, like rights, basically. Like they still have like stories of like people putting cameras in women's restrooms there just to like get a sneak of like people like women who are like using the bathroom, or just people like you know basically not having their rights there, not equal rights there. So would not want to live there
yeah,
essentially. And I'm not even. And plus, like, I don't think they're even that friendly to foreigners either,
no,
especially of
they're
the
not.
darker variety. So it's just like, well, not only do I have lesser rights here, but also racism. So double whammy, blammy, get me out of here.
But don't worry, if they have a problem with me, they don't know what they're going up against, bro. So I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll set some careers straight, man, if I have to. No.
Tussle, man. Yeah, just suplex them. I mean, you're pretty tall, Brandon, right? You can just like pick them
Yeah,
up and
sure.
throw them into the trash.
Yeah, sure. I'm tall. Yeah, definitely not
Hmm.
5'9".
That's pretty tall.
That's a
At least
giant
to
in
me.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan.
True.
You should just go to Japan instead, Brandon. You got the food, the weeaboo,
Mushy mushy.
moshi moshi, the earthquake.
Arigato. But
Oh wait, Brandon, can I ask them?
sure.
Would you date a foreigner? Like, would you date like a
Ooh,
Japanese girl, a Korean girl? If you had to learn Korean because they don't know English very well or at
that's
all.
a good question.
Yeah, I could learn.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Although I would probably not do it right away. Like if I would have to know a sufficient amount. Like not be like barely know how to say hello.
Konnichiwa.
But like if I had a decent understanding and just had to like keep learning, yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Hmm. I don't know if this is like true or not, but like a lot of people usually say that when it comes to relationships, people usually like tend to just date people of a similar like race and ethnicity and stuff. Do you think that's true? Would you say that's a fair assumption to make?
Yeah, because a lot of it comes down to religion too, right?
That's true.
Like you date people of the same religion, like you're saying, you got your little church, your choice of the church.
Yeah. Okay, but to be fair, not only were they all religious, they were also all Filipino.
Yeah. But like especially in like I live in an area with a lot of Middle Eastern people and like and they all come over from like India and like Bangladesh, Middle Eastern countries, Iraq. They still do a lot of arranged marriages and stuff. It's and when you do that, you're typically not choosing like some Japanese dude to marry. It's usually somebody in the same religion. So I don't think I think it's a lot of it's just in the same religion.
Yeah, you're asking like about America or like Japan? Like in California, I feel like that's not really as common. Yeah, people date people from different ethnicities or backgrounds all the time. But you're talking about Japan, it's probably they want to date Japanese people more. But I think that's more common of men. Men want to date Japanese girls more often than foreigner girls. But women, I've seen a lot of like interviews on YouTube where they just walk around the streets of Japan, Tokyo, and stuff. And girls are like, "Yeah, I date a foreigner. Yeah, I would love to date a white guy." Like, yeah. So I think it's less common with women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I was assuming it was like a general question rather than just.
Yeah, I was more so just doing it as a general question too, because like, yeah, I've definitely watched those interviews too, where like, Asian women or like Asian men might say that they want to date someone foreign and stuff, but sometimes it also ends up being someone like of fair skin too. Like I don't necessarily hear them talking about like dating like black people or like know Mexican people or anything like that. So like, I was just kind of curious like what the sort of differences in like cultural stuff when it comes to like relationships. So.
Personally, though,
Oh.
I would only date Asian women because that's my preference, like appearance wise. Like I can recognize
wait, whoa, wait, what?
What?
I thought we had something.
Oh, well, I mean that's different.
Okay. Oh, my bad.
But it's like you can recognize when a hot person is a hot person, like they're attractive.
Yeah.
You just would rather date Asian women.
Yeah.
And thank God it's not really yellow fever for me because I'm Asian. But if I were anything else, then yeah, it would be yellow fever.
I can't.
Sorry, I almost got offended there for a second, Kevin.
Yeah, because Brandon you'll end up finding like a Japanese or Korean wife or something, and just like
Sorry, Brandon.
the yellow fever times the weeaboo times the Korean the triple whammy blammy. That's great though. Oh, that's interesting, Brandon. You know, living in Japan, like overseas and stuff. Is there anywhere in particular in those countries that you want to live in? Just like the big major countries, like Seoul, I mean cities like Seoul and like Tokyo and stuff.
Yeah, I think at first the big city would be more comfortable. Like there'll be a lot going on, and plus there'll be a lot of typically there'll be a lot more English people speaking people around in the bigger cities rather than something smaller. But yeah, at first it would just be a big city. But I don't know exactly where. I haven't worried too much about it. I mean, I'm still in school. Don't even have a job yet, so it's it's not a top priority. But eventually,
Yeah,
I'd like to.
it's always fun to just think about the possibilities, though, right? It's like
Mhm.
manifesting or like visualizing where your life is going to be in the next few years. I think, in a way, in that sense, it also works as a really great motivator as well. You're like having a clear idea of where you want to be, like in the future or like near future. I know that's cool. How about you, Kevin? Is there any place that you particularly want to live? Aside from LA, of course, right? But like other country, like other state, other cities.
Uh, Permanently, like I would never be able to live in another country. I think because communication is so important to me. If I didn't fully understand the slang or like just certain phrases, it's really hard to learn a new language. And even if I were like, if I knew how to say certain things in Korean or Japanese or whatever, I couldn't live there and really understand what they're saying. Like the slang, the jokes they're making, I want to be able to understand everything. So that's
Yeah,
why, like, I really don't want to live outside of the U.S. or like some English-speaking city or country because communication is just so important to me. Just getting my exact thought across,
for sure.
being able to say it the exact way I want to say it. Because even my parents are Vietnamese, right, and they don't speak English that well, or not fluently at least. And when I speak Vietnamese, my Vietnamese is not very good. So if I want to say a specific thing or how I'm feeling, it's really hard. It's really difficult to get that across. And that's something I learned when I was a kid, Vietnamese, and I can't. It's going to be even worse for Japanese or Korean. Then I don't want to do that. I'm
Yeah,
good. And learning stuff just gets harder because you have less time when you're older. So
for sure.
Even though I only speak English, I still kind of have that trouble, just communicating with people and understanding people. So, it's not
So
a big
true.
deal if it's another language.
So true.
yeah.
Okay, but like you say that, Brad, but like my anxiety would be like, not only am I bad at communicating, but I can't understand a shit
Yeah, the shit
anything that they're
talk.
saying.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
just like, I'm gonna fucking have a panic
Asian
attack.
people are notorious for talking shit behind your back. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, now that they can talk shit in front of my face, I wouldn't even understand. It's like, oh man. But yeah, I'm probably gonna live in SoCal next year. So let's just see how that goes first. I've been living here in NorCal my entire life, so maybe if living in a different place, I like it more, I hate it, then we'll see where I go from there in terms of moving somewhere else that's not California.
Some good homes in Michigan.
That I could probably afford.
Let's go, dear
you most
Lord.
certainly could.
Let's go, Kalamazoo. You can finally be a troll.
Oh my god.
Yeah, LA would be cool. Just same state, different environment.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think the weather would be like greater there. And there's of course gonna be a lot more stuff to do down there than up here.
I hear people are meaner there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know. The fake kindness,
Mm.
superficial people.
Yeah.
No, but I'm sure it's gonna be a good time.
I think
Yeah.
we are hitting the end. We are over an hour. So.
Thanks, timekeeper.
I was just
Awesome.
like, I was just like, I don't know. That's how we're trying to keep it, right? Like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I know we could go on for like 20 more minutes, but I just wanted to bring it up. I was just like, maybe we should start wrapping it up.
No, you're so right for that. Thanks for keeping track of time, Brandon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great time to like end it. Great conversations all around. Interesting stuff, interesting facts from your lore that I will keep with me for for a while. Thinking about the Kevin's almost getting arrested story. Super good. But yeah, was really fun finally getting a chance to record another episode. I hope that everyone who's watching had a good time, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime next week or the week after. We will be playing some Premiere tonight. I'm very excited for that. You might see some snippets of our games if Brandon will be so kind to record those too.
I can't wait to hear Break a Hit, Brendan.
Yeah, bring it in, Brandon. Oh man, but yeah, it was nice, and we'll see y'all next week. So thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Bye.
Right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.